Aloha and welcome to Mystic Wisdom Dialogues with Wayne Kealohi Powell here, broadcasting from the most beautiful island in the Pacific called Kauai, up in the hills of Kapa. So welcome everyone. Trying out some new tech things today. I've got my fancy microphone on board, and hopefully you can hear me better. So, thank you for joining. I look forward to having some good questions today to lead us into a wonderful channeling of what it is. And I've been thinking a lot about last Sunday with healing the mother wound. We had some really good responses from that. Thank you for that. One lady said, everyone needs to hear this. Yeah, and if that's the only comment, that's a good one. So I got to thinking about that, because I did it on Mother's Day, and as that becomes more popular and people begin to share it, it's got some timeless wisdom in it for sure. Yet it's further and further away from that day we call Mother's Day. So I thought, well, we're about a month ahead of Father's Day. So maybe we should look into that issue and get a running start on people who would like to heal their father issues. Yeah, I know we've all been working on this. And, I'm really most impressed with some of the young people that are getting into the back seat of my Peace Wagon, the Uber train. And the dialogue that they have is amazing. The wisdom that these kids in their 20s, not all of them, but the ones that are riding with me, they've got some major wisdom happening. It's like completely mind-blowing that it took me 50, 60 years to gather that wisdom. And here they come in with it. Early 20s, they're telling me what I'm teaching in all my books. They're already applying in their life, and they've never opened the book. So, I'm not really sure who this wisdom is for, but it was a great reflection from these young ladies that I'm on the right track, that this is the new wave of psychology. Um, it's not about religion anymore. It's about the science of what works, what's happening in the brain and how the brain is wired and how it runs patterns unconsciously, subconsciously, whatever you want to call it. It's constantly a running pattern machine. And we are one of the players in the pattern, in every pattern. We are one of the players. Yet the ego, the way it sees the world is that the other person is the player, and that way we can blame them for how we feel. Isn't that silly? We don't even see our part because it's so buried. Yeah. So anyway, back to this idea of, forgiving the father. So many levels this takes place on because we have way more than a physical father. And what has been put down in over time through spiritual paths and religious philosophy is the father being God. And then there's all the concepts we have of the father in our brain, what that is. Especially when a guy is having to raise a child, becoming a father when his partner gets pregnant, hapai, they call it in Hawaiian. Um, what those responsibilities look like. I mean, you can read all the books in the world, and yet it's not really going to give you, hands-on healing of what the father's responsibilities are. So I put a lot of stuff in the pot just now from a lot of different angles. Let's take it apart. You know, before this morning's talk, I was thinking about this idea of healing the father wound. And what came to mind was how many young women and women of all ages actually have had severe, severe father issues, mostly abandonment, uh, some betrayal, but mostly abandonment. And then I think about, my father who worked three jobs, just to keep up with the bills back in the day. And the only time we saw him was when he had a vacation and we all went to the lake. We went skiing, or he took us on a camping trip upstate in Florida to Silver Springs. Beautiful, beautiful springs. And so I have some fond memories about that. And I remember him playing the harmonica, things like that. But I didn't know anything should be different, that I never saw my father. Um, you know, and when we were just getting up in the morning, going to school and coming back and, having meals, he was never home. I don't have any recall of him being home except for when he was painting the house. Yeah, he loved painting the house and inside primarily needed the most attention. We had a four-bedroom house with kitchen, dining room, living room as well, and garage. And he would start painting one or two bedrooms one year. And then the next year, he'd go to the other two bedrooms. Next year, he'd go to the living room. Next year, he'd go to the dining room and kitchen. And then he would rotate. So every 5 years, the whole inside of the house got repainted. And that was another memory I have that I loved helping my father paint. He showed me very young, I don't know how old I was, maybe 7, how to use a paintbrush and how to go two different ways on the wall so you would get all the little nooks and crannies saturated with paint. Yeah. So these issues that we have about father, having been a father and, surfed a lot of, difficulties and challenges with that significant partnership, marriage for 16 years with three children, that role kept shifting and I just shifted with it. I never read a book on fatherhood, and I'm sure I didn't do the best job that I could have done if I had studied what that was like or taken some more advice from a wise elder. But for those of you guys who are becoming fathers, I think you're going to do a really good job. I'll just tell you that right up front, because so much has shifted in humanity, in the last 30, 40 years in regards to that. Men have become more listening to the feminine and also nurturing their own feminine nature as well. And that really helps us, hear our partner and feel what they're saying more than just trying to fix them. So now back to this issue with what the abandonment thing was all about. I want to tackle that because apparently it's still pretty deep in our culture. I mean, I've heard statistics, I don't know how true they are, of 50% of families with color have no father on board, and 35% of the Caucasian variety have no father on board. And I know there are a lot of agencies that are helping bring those numbers up, providing, father roles for youth, and God bless them all. It's just so awesome. But what I hear from women um, who are in tears when we bring up the idea of, I just simply ask, how's your relationship with your father? And they just start crying because they felt so abandoned, and I have also, you know, surfed that board of abandonment with my children. So I want to share some insights from a father's point of view because it has nothing to do with how much we love the children. Um, it has everything to do with how we don't know how to love the children. And that may sound silly or irresponsible, but when a father is in overwhelm with trying to pay the bills, trying to keep up with, all the basic needs of life, food and rent, car payments, whatever, um, and is feeling, pretty swallowed by that responsibility, it's really, really challenging to give the quality attention needed to the children. Um, and that's not an excuse. For me, that's a reality that really hurt for me because my situation was quite a bit different, I think, than most people because I was living in California primarily with the first two children. And in the 80s, I was able to supplement income by growing pot. And so I had more time for the children, and we spent a lot of time together. But what I'm seeing and hearing from these young women is that they never, their father never acknowledged them. They didn't even feel seen or heard. And, I could see through counseling them and hear that the relationship with their mother, um, their father's relationship with their mother was not exactly harmonious all the time. And that really threw them off, as well as the supplying all the needs of the family. So the point of the story is that the love was always there, just like when I talked about the mother. And apparently last week, saying that, the condemnation that you're feeling from your mother, you can't do it right, you're not doing it right, you have to do it this way, how it was coming from really originating in her heart and then being distorted in her belief system. Well, back in the day, it's changed a lot now, but, fathers, they basically, their roles to fulfill was provider. And so that became the primary mission. And so the children didn't get the attention, like in my family, that perhaps they could have got if there was a little more ease and grace in that provider role. So what I'm really trying to say is that the languaging of love from father to daughter, from father to child, is not taught. Maybe it is today. Maybe I'm missing what's happening in the last 10 years or so, but it wasn't taught through the generations. It was just a hands-on, running programs, right? Relating to mom. And, if that was strenuous, then that would definitely leak over into how the children were being treated. Um, but what I feel when I tune into, my client's father, because I have that ability when we start talking about him, what I feel is he did not have the words or the languaging or the technology or the psychology to express how much he loved his daughter. And there was all these blocks in the way of why that couldn't happen. And, I mean, just to name a few, besides the ones I've already named, overwhelm and stress from being the provider and not perhaps feeling like he's falling short. So that falling short played over into the relationship with mom and played over into the relationship with daughter, and then trying to not usurp mom and her job, which was apparently the children from my generation and a few generations to follow. Um, you know, uh, like it's just so bizarre how, you know, I guess there was a lot of fathers like myself who really enjoyed reading books and singing children to sleep. Yet it wasn't so with my father and from that generation. That was not his job, God bless him. But nevertheless, the story is supposed to, it's intended to bring you to an idea, ladies. Let's have a meditation for a moment here. Yeah, for all those of you that are comfortable with this idea of meditating, close your eyes, get comfortable. You could sit perhaps with your spine straight and start breathing in light from your crown center and opening the spirit channel. Take a couple of deep breaths of pure golden light into yourself. Now, I want you to bring into your mind screen your father and just hold him in consciousness and keep breathing light into yourself as you do this. And now I want you to imagine that he's absolutely present for you in this moment, sharing with you the breath that you're breathing. And open your heart while you do this, if you would please. And open his heart as you do this. And in the spirit channel, through the principle of oneness, I want you to feel your hearts connect. Put the intellect aside and breathe from your heart to your father's heart. Inhale your love and share it with his heart. And then inhale his love and exhale it into your heart. Make it as real as you can using your imagination and your breath. Back and forth, give and take, this divine love of unity, of union with the Father, of this dimension. This may bring some tears. You may feel an expansion within you. Now, I want you to feel how much love he's holding for you, his daughter, his son. Use your breath and feel this love going back and forth from heart to heart. From the moment you were conceived, this man loved you and has loved you ever since, even though he may not have known how to express it. So now, in your own words, from your heart to his, I want you to say, I love you, Father. I love you, Dad. I love you, Pop. Use whatever word is appropriate for you. And feel the resonance like a boomerang coming back and hear his voice saying to you, I love you, son. I love you, daughter. Thank you. I love you. In the spirit channel, through the principle of union, of one spirit, one mind, one heart, Breathe and feel how much love he could not express to you. And it's here now. And now imagine that you guys are hugging. The two of you are hugging through the spirit channel. One love, hugging itself as the principle of father and child merge into one. And now let's give our thanks to God for this experience of the spirit channel, which is the ultimate father concept on the highest level, provider of life, light, to the mother, our earth, to provide us with food and shelter, bodies, the father principle, source, the mother principle, creation, merging into one right now using your breath. Feel how heaven and earth are one when you open your heart and you breathe light and you let go of perceptions and projections and just become one with our cosmic father and mother, holding us as the sacred, holy child that we are. Father, Mother God, thank you for this blessing. We love you more than words can say. And we are so very grateful for this experience of life, this experience of unity with you, the spirit of wholeness, walking this earth, happy learners of how to love ourselves and others. Thank you for this gift. Blessed be. Now take a few deep breaths and feel how expanded your aura is and how at one, at one mint, you feel with your physical father, intellectual father, and your spiritual father. Warm, loving. Okay, take a few deep breaths and come on back. The room you're in, and plant this very deeply into yourself so you can carry it forward, pay it forward to the children and grandchildren. In the systems that I'm learning, I'm a happy learner of and teaching. Everyone is innocent, no matter what we think they have done from a divine perspective, which is permanent perspective, an immortal perspective. Only love is real and it's divine. And I think we're all happy learners, hopefully, of how that is paid forward. How we can love ourselves unconditionally and learn to love others as we are loved. So, all right, there's my soapbox for this Sunday morning. I hope that some of you are enjoying that. And we are definitely open to some questions.
I have one, Wayne.
Okay.
I love the meditation. Thank you. So, my question is that from my understanding, because of some of the research I've done, that often the father wound lies, it's like a systemic issue due to the fact we're no longer living like in community. And just what you were saying, like the dads are often, out of the home, busy bringing in sustenance.
Mm,
So from a mystical wisdom perspective,
mm,
how do we confront that lack of community and that isolation that we're living in that can often contribute to, fathers being overstressed and overworked and not as present with their children as they
mm.
could be? So the lack of community, that's, I guess, my question. How do we see that from a mystical wisdom perspective?
Yeah. Mm. Thank you, Hope. That's an excellent question. By the way, is this microphone an improvement? I hope so.
It sounds good.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I know you well enough to know, Hope, that community is a really big idea that you tend to thrive in. It's the best word. And, that's lovely. It's true, and I think everybody has that innate sense within them that community is come unity. That it is absolutely a principle that we could not live without. You look at the word ohana, you know, O is of, Ha is the breath of God, and Na is the many. Ohana, known as family, there it is, the basic aspect of community. So, yeah, so in healing that wound that feels so empty and tender, I guess is a good word, um, it's all an inside job. And all of you showing up for this, I know you know that. Yet, how to function it as an inside job becomes the question. Well, what is permanent is the one spirit. Um, it has no beginning, no ending. It's only now. And within that one spirit resides everything that is temporary. That would include, our family, our communities, everything that we do here on earth, every relationship that we have, every thought that we have, all temporary, come and go, wash out. So in filling that wound of abandonment or betrayal with father or the community, my default is always light. It's always light because light affects everything. And light in itself, um, it causes creation. Um, and sometimes that looks like destruction in the form of fire. But there is a community um, of spirit that can be tapped into to fill that empty space within. There are many icons that many spiritual paths have used for that. I've got one here on the altar, um, but there are so many. And what I've done is I've made them my internal family. Now, there's nothing going on outside my own mind. That's really clear with all the teachings that every perception is a projection. And there's an axiom in Huna, and many of the systems actually that are coming forward today to help the happy learners. Use what's true. Use what works for you is actually what is your truth in the moment. And so there's a variety of ways to approach that issue that you brought forward, Hope. Um, Yet for me, I ingest, invoke, generate as much light as I possibly can every day, every morning, before I get into my day, to swell my beingness larger than any problems or circumstances that have been lingering in my mind or that I will confront in the day. And so my family, my primal family has become spirit, intellect, and body. And it sounds, pretty esoteric because it is, and perhaps new age because it is. But it is the most primal family that can satisfy all needs and heal all issues. Why? Because we were given this gift. How? We were given all the tools to discover ourself whole, already whole, nothing to fix, nothing to do, to become whole, to be wealthy, to be prosperous, to feel loved, to generate love. We have all these tools. And what prevents these tools from providing us with the feelings we want are patterns. Patterns that are running from generations past, still running. Patterns that we were taught in this life from a child of how to interact with the world and with each other. And so we're playing a part in each one of those patterns. And there is a pattern of depression. There is a pattern of feeling empty. There's a pattern of needing community. There's a pattern of needing others. All of these are patterns that we can play into and have feelings generated from them. So when I do my cleaning work, my generating light work in the morning, into, I don't leave my altar or my bed or wherever I am studying until I crack a smile from my heart into my body that feels larger than life. And in that feeling, there is no need. There's no need for anything or anyone. And so this to me is come unity. And how that transpires is when you radiate in this way, you will attract in the physical dimension come unity. You will attract other light mind, lighthearted folks that want to share, want to pay all of this love forward, want to sing, want to dance. I know, Hope, that you love to dance and you lead people into dance and in community. It's beautiful. And there are so many circles around the world that any one of us could join. So that would be my advice. First, take care of your own family, spirit, intellect, and body, father, mother, child. As Morna Simeona would put it, father, mother, child. Commune with that family, come unity there. And then look for circles that you can add to your love. Share what you have discovered rather than a neediness for to approach that circle. Yeah, there's a big difference. And watch the patterns. Observe the patterns because you have a choice whether or not to play into a pattern or not. Yeah, and that is called free will. And so come, unity. That too is a pattern that we love playing. Thank you for that question, Hope. Hmm. Anyone else have a question? Is there anyone else in the room? All right.
It's just you and I today, except they're having some people watching on YouTube, but no
Okay.
comments yet.
Okay, cool. Well, did I answer your question, dear?
Yes, that was awesome. Thank you.
Okay. So, where can we go from here? Forgive yourself for everything. Really. It's easy. Know that we are children of this creation, our creator, right? Which is unseen. And we were born innocent and we die physically innocent. And we realize this when we die, that we were always innocent. So why not own it now? Yeah. You know what innocence feels like? Do you remember what innocence feels like? Mm. All right. Let's have another meditation. Let's close our eyes, go vertical, open the spirit channel once again. Breathing in light so strong into your body from our source. If it helps to imagine the sun or whatever, go for it. Breathe it in, fill yourself with golden white light. Now we're going to reclaim our innocence right here, right now. Make it a feeling. Here's how we're going to do that. Keep breathing in light from above, opening, opening with light. And repeat after me. And repeat it with a declaration kind of energy, which is more powerful than affirmation. It's like going to the balcony and letting all the subjects of the realm know. That's a declaration. So keep breathing in light and repeat after me. Put your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath and say, I forgive myself for everything. And breathe in light into that statement. Feel the light incoming. I forgive myself for everything. Feel the Father's love coming in with that light. One more time. I forgive myself for everything. That should make you smile. Okay. I love myself deeply. Breathe that in. Full breaths filled with light. I love myself deeply. More light, bigger breaths. I love myself deeply. Moving on. I forgive everyone else for everything. That's right. You're laying down all your judgments, all your self-righteous bullshit judgments. I forgive everyone for everything. This would include all the wars in the world and everyone in your personal life that triggers you. I forgive everyone for everything. Deep breath. Feel forgiveness washing through all of your programs, all of your patterns. Feel your expanded aura filled with light, love, grace, which is aloha. Next line. I trust and surrender to the light of my soul. Breathe that in. I trust and surrender to the light of my soul. One more time. I trust and surrender to the light of my soul. To guide me, direct me, and heal me. Breathe that in. To guide me, direct me, and heal me. Spread that light into every cell of your mental body, your emotional body, your volitional body, your pain body. To guide me, direct me, and heal me. Breathe it in. Feel for a moment the light inside, so bright, connected with the Father and the Mother, the Holy Child within. Feel a light expanded feels like love in a body, because it is. And now the gratitude lines. Thank you, God, for this blessing. Breathe that in and give it away. Thank you, God, for this blessing. Thank you, God, for this blessing. Oh my God. Well, I didn't expect this to take place, but I'm going to leave you here because I don't know what else there is to offer myself and the world this morning on this beautiful Sunday in Kauai. Blessings on your life, your love, expanding into the world, and know that you are guided by the light of your soul. Whenever you deem it so, you must claim it. The Holy Spirit is always with us to guide us. Yeah. So blessings on your day, on your life, on all your creations, on your children, on your family, on your ancestors. Blessings on your community. Blessings on this world. Blessings. The power of blessings is absolutely infinite. Just keep blessing and see what happens. God bless you. Till next Sunday. Ahui ho. Malama pono.